everyone. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Alan Basoyahe coming to you from Los Angeles, California. It's Thursday evening here, February 25, 2021. Tonight, we have updates from several of our correspondents across North America. Megs Estrella in Bakersfield, California.
LA launches move expanding mobile vaccinations to the city's most impacted neighborhoods.
Mylene Cusho, North Hills, California.
Los Angeles city flags fly at half-staff in honor of 500,000 lives lost to COVID-19.
JP Era reports about Sacramento offering free rides to vaccine appointments through its regional transit system. Kay Regalado in Woodland Hills, California.
Disneyland offers a limited capacity experience, a touch of Disney.
Elmiri Gonzalez in South Haven gives us updates on the recent winter weather impact. Governor Reeves announcing 2 new groups eligible for COVID vaccine in the state, and drastic reductions of COVID-19 cases there that may lift the mask mandate in March. Jairus Kayabia reports about Corpus Christi celebrating a construction kickoff of an iconic landmark. Eliza Gonzalez-Malikmot in Washington, D.C.
An update on the Listeria outbreak. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention warning us to avoid cheese sold under brand name El Abuelito.
Carla Valdez in Union Township reports about New Jersey's historic pre-K through 12 investments in fiscal year 2022 budget proposal. For business news, Bobby Soriano reports about President Biden signing an order to review critical supply chains, and Twitter looking to rapidly expand with some new features. For ABC Sports, Melissa Potes in Orlando and Tenny Sumagi in New York brings us NBA news. Plus, Charmaine Serrera takes us to Mauna Kea this winter, Hawaii's highest peak. Our coverage begins now. Press Secretary Jen Psaki answers whether the White House is considering sanctions against Saudi Arabia after the U.S. intelligence community releases a report on the killing of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Take a look.
I think there are a range of actions that are on the table, but the first step is, the next step I should say, is for the President to speak with the King. We expect that to happen very soon. As you know, we've committed to the release of an unclassified report that would come out from DNI and not from the White House. And of course, our administration is focused on recalibrating the relationship, as we've talked about in here previously. And certainly there are areas where we will express concerns and leave open the option of accountability.
Psaki also defends the Biden administration's policy of holding migrant children at the U.S.-Mexico border.
Had to reopen a new facility that had previously been closed because of COVID protocols. Because we can't have kids in beds next to each other, we need space appropriate. It's been revamped. There's educational services there. There are health services and medical services. But our objective is to move them as quickly as we can to families that have been vetted and to, of course, reunite kids with their families.
In related news, President Joe Biden's administration said Thursday the upcoming release of intelligence on the killing of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi will be a step toward ensuring accountability.
Relationship, to be sure, is multifaceted, but we want to ensure that we bring those facets much closer in line with our interests and our values. And this is an important part of that, this being the release of that report and the accountability that will ensue.
In other news, the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, tells reporters there is a domestic terrorism challenge in the country following the riot at the Capitol on January 6.
Domestic terrorism challenge in this country. That's what the director of the FBI testified to the end of September. Domestic violence taking more lives than international violence in this country, and the biggest number since Oklahoma City.
Of former President Donald Trump, who was acquitted in the Senate of inciting insurrection, Pelosi says he's gone.
What we need is the truth. And that's what we want to find out. The truth about what is happening in our country to enable something like this to be acceptable to the Republican Party.
And now for today's COVID-19 numbers. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University and Medicine, as of 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday, February 25, 2021, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 112,849,000. Top three on the list of countries with recorded cases are the U.S. with 28.3 million, India with 11 million, and Brazil with 10.3 million. To date, more than 2,503,000 have succumbed to this virus. Top three countries with the most number of COVID-19 related deaths are the U.S. at more than 507,000, Brazil at more than 249,000, and Mexico at more than 182,000. For COVID news, the director of the World Health Organization's European branch, Hans Klug, says in an online briefing that patients experiencing post-COVID symptoms needed to be listened to, and understanding long-term consequences should be made a priority by health authorities.
These are the many thousands who are experiencing post-COVID conditions, also referred to as long COVID or post-COVID syndrome. Today, we shed light on the fact that in some patients, the disability following SARS-CoV-2 infection lingers on for months with severe social, economic, health and occupational consequences. Stories of those who should have recovered, but whose lives were still affected by debilitating symptoms soon emerged. Regrettably, some were met with disbelief or lack of understanding. We need to listen and we need to understand.
While some studies are beginning to shed light on the illness, it's still unclear why some patients with COVID-19 continue to show symptoms for months, including tiredness, brain fog, and cardiac and neurological disorders. It was in early February when the WHO organized the first virtual seminar devoted to so-called long COVID in order to properly define it, give it a formal name, and harmonize methods for studying it. 50 million. That's the number of COVID-19 vaccine shots administered in the United States. President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and Biden's Chief Medical Advisor Anthony Fauci attended an event commemorating the milestone. They watch 4 Americans get vaccinated. When we come back, updates from our Eagle News correspondents here in California. This is Eagle News America. Stay with us.
Ikaw nga ang siyang magbabago sa aking buhay. Hi, ito si Princess Velasco. Abangan niyo ako ngayong linggo sa Himig ng Lahi, alas 8 ng gabi, dito lang sa Net 25.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Hindi ako again sa inyong relasyon. Naalala lang ang mga kahapon kung saan tinapon na lang ang dating pag-ibig. Kung pagbibigyan mo pa ako salamat, pero malabo na ako'y maging mapala. Ginawa ko ng lahat, hindi pa ba sapat na ako'y walang pag-asa, ipinagtapat. Kaya ako
hello po sa inyong lahat. Ako nga pala si Ford Valencia. Abangan niyo po ako sa Letters in Music bilang guest performer. Sabado po yan, Feb 27, 1 to 2 p.m. At syempre, dito lamang po yan sa Net 25. See you!
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Alan Bosco-Yahe in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is bringing the vaccine to the most impacted neighborhoods via MOVE. In Bakersfield, Megs Estrella tells us all about it.
Thank you, Alan. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti launches the Mobile Outreach for Vaccine Equity, or MOVE, program to expand mobile vaccinations and bring much-needed COVID-19 vaccinations to the most impacted neighborhoods in the city. Mayor Garcetti states vaccines can be a powerful instrument of equity, and we must act now to tear down any barriers that stand between these life-saving doses and Black, Latino, and low-income Angelenos. By delivering doses directly into our communities, our city is sending a clear message. As we work to protect these people's health and defeat this pandemic, no one will be left behind. The MOVE program extends on a pilot initiative that has already provided over 4,200 vaccines doses to the most vulnerable areas of the city, specifically in South and East Los Angeles. During the first pilot week earlier this month, the mobile clinics vaccinated more than 1,300 Angelenos in this southern part of the city. Vaccination services will now move and reach the underserved communities in South Park, Green Meadows, Boyle Heights, Chinatown, Fairmont Square, and Pico Union. It is the goal of the MOVE program to have 10 mobile vaccination teams out in the city, including Northeast LA and the East San Fernando Valley by the last week of March. In Bakersfield, California, Megs Estrella, Eagle News, who live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Now, Megs, why is the city having the MOVE program target these specific communities and neighborhoods in Los Angeles?
Alan, the population residing in these areas like South Park, Boyle Heights, and Pico Union are dominantly people of color and Latinos. The city's communities of color account for the largest number of COVID-19 cases and deaths. And at the county level, Latinos account for 63% of positive cases and 52% of COVID-19 deaths. These are the neighborhoods that needs the vaccine the most. The MOVE teams will start their outreach there and assist the residents in booking their appointments, as well as educating them on the benefits of the vaccine and helping them to obtain transportation to the mobile vaccination site. Alan?
Well, it looks like this MOVE program will be moving fast indeed. Thank you for the report, Megs. In honor of the 500,000 American lives lost to the COVID-19 pandemic, the city of Los Angeles flies its flags at half-staff. In North Hills, Mylene Cusho reports.
Thank you, Alan. Los Angeles lowers city flags to fly at half-staff in honor of the over 500,000 lives lost to COVID-19. Mayor Garcetti states, more than 500,000 lives taken by COVID-19. It's a loss that's almost incomprehensible. Yet behind this number are names. Behind these statistics are stories. Behind these figures, families missing a loved one at the dinner table and confronting a world now incomplete. It's in their memories we must approach the months ahead with a renewal and continues until sunset this Friday. According to the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health, the county now has a record total of 1,185,457 positive cases and 20,987 COVID-19 deaths. The positive report is that the county's adjusted case rate has lowered to 12.3 cases per 100,000 population, which means a lessening of restrictions in the days and weeks ahead. but all this alignment with the updated state guidelines. Beginning this Friday, outdoor recreational sports for both children and adults, even those that are moderate and high in contact, are now allowed to resume. These include baseball, volleyball, football, basketball, and soccer. In North Hills, California, Mylene Cusio, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Oh, Mylene, 500,000. That's a number that's kind of hard to wrap our heads around. But what isn't is the potential of returning to recreation. So, Mylene, I've got to ask you, what sports are your children looking forward to playing with the lessening of restrictions?
My son is looking forward to playing basketball with other kids again. He's been shooting hoops with my husband and me, as if I'm any challenge for him. I'm pretty sure he's bored playing horse with me at basketball. But he does practice his dribbling and shooting skills with his daddy. Hopefully his basketball league will resume in late spring or early summer. Now, as for my daughter, she's looking forward to formal tennis lessons. We bought her her own tennis racket prior to COVID. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to take any classes, but I did take the liberty of teaching her what I know. I taught her how to hold a racket properly, and we've been practicing her forehand, how to hit, and not to hit the tennis ball as if she has to make a home run. And we volley at the net, so that helps, me, so I don't have to run around all over the tennis courts. I'm pretty sure she wants to play tennis with children of her age and level. So I'm pretty sure she's pretty excited. As soon as the nearby recreational center opens up, I will be signing them up for the basketball league and the tennis lessons. Back to you, Alan.
That was sports mom extraordinaire, Mylene Cusio, with that report and those videos. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Mylene.
You're welcome.
In Sacramento, the city offers those with vaccination appointments free rides through its regional transit system. Eagle News correspondent JP Era tells us how to take advantage of this opportunity.
With almost a year in quarantine coming up in just a few weeks, Sacramento County is finally starting to see a drop in confirmed coronavirus cases. With this gradual decrease in the amount of confirmed cases, more people in the Sacramento County are being vaccinated with the goal to stop the spread of COVID-19. Starting on March 1st, to help give the community easier access to receive their vaccinations, Sacramento Regional Transit, or SAC-RT, is offering free rides to those who have scheduled their own COVID-19 vaccine appointments. SAC-RT is a public transportation department of Sacramento County that oversees public transportation such as buses and light rails. To be able to ride free, the individual must have proof of their vaccine appointment and show it to the bus operator, or if on the light rail, show it to the fare inspector. Individuals can take advantage of these free rides to be able to travel to their vaccination appointment in any of the areas that are included within Sacramento County's service area. This also includes hospitals, pharmacies, and immunization sites. Sacramento County is hoping that with this great resource of transportation, more people will have access and want to be vaccinated. Although Sacramento County is receiving vaccines, not everyone may have the means to be able to travel to a vaccination site to receive one. Now, with this plan taking place just next week, the county is bridging that gap to be able to make this vaccine more accessible to members of the community and, in turn, doing even more to slow the spread. During these times, please continue to take care of yourselves and each other. In Sacramento, JP Era, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Well, thanks, JP, for that report. But it's a shame that the transit only is for your Sacramento County, because I'm sure some of the riders would like to travel all the way down to Southern California where they could visit Disneyland again, which is what is our next story. For those who are Disneyland fans and maybe they're missing it as much as a lot of us are, here's a consolation. America's theme park is offering a limited capacity event dubbed A Touch of Disney. In Woodland Hills, Kay Regalado has the details.
Thank you, Alan. With many Disney enthusiasts eager to make their way back to the Disneyland and Disneyland California Adventure theme parks, Southern California residents are in for a treat with Disneyland's resorts, A Touch of Disney. This is a ticketed, limited capacity experience starting next month on March 18th and will be offered Thursdays through Mondays from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Disney California Adventure theme park. A Touch of Disney will showcase a variety of world-famous food and beverages from around the resort with the opportunity to meet Disney characters, purchase the current Disney merchandise, and capture memories at unique photo places. Ticket holders will have access to photo opportunities with Disney characters and new picture-worthy spots. Those in attendance for this event will be able to access the various iconic snacks, food, drinks Disneyland is known for, Dole Whip, Mickey waffles, churros, chicken gumbo, mint juleps, Monte Cristo sandwiches, and more. With the current social distancing restrictions still in place, this event will operate at a limited capacity and will adhere to the safety and health guidelines from the CDC and County Health Department. This event will not only bring joy to the many Southern California residents missing the Disneyland theme park, but also to the 700 cast members who will be able to return to work because of the launching of this event. In Woodland Hills, California, Kay Regalado, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Okay, your report brings a smile to our face. It reminds us how much we enjoy Disneyland, but it also reminds us about the price of admission. So, Kay, how much are the tickets for this event? What does the ticket include?
It's a great question, Alan. Alan, admission tickets for this event start at $75 and are available to the public online purchase at Disneyland.com beginning on March 4th. Tickets are subject to availability and must be purchased for a specific date. The ticket price includes admission, parking, unlimited access to Disney Photo Pass for pictures captured during the visit, and a dining card worth $25 to be used as credit for food purchases. Back to you, Alan.
All right, those tickets are going to run out fast. Thank you for the report, Kay. Up next, we have updates from Mississippi, Texas, Washington, New Jersey, and business news. Eagle News will return in a moment. Stay with us.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Your weekly dose of entrepreneurial inspiration to update you on the latest developments in the world of business. Get up close and personal with CEOs and thought leaders to help you discover valuable insights, sharpen your instincts for smart decision-making with the latest markets and economic trends, disruptive ideas, global innovation, social entrepreneurship, and other leading-edge business ideas. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business, from vision to action.
Impormasyong mahalaga sa taong bayan. Patas na pagbabalita. Papakinggan ang magkabilang panig. Lilinawin ang mga issue at kaagad na ihahatid ng objektibo. Mata ng Agila. Tumadagit ng pinakasariwang pangyayari, hindi lamang sa loob ng bansa, kundi sa iba't ibang panig ng daigdig. Mula sa Eagle News teams at sa tulong ng makabagong teknolohiya, tiyak na makakalap kaagad ang katotohanan. Para sa mas matalas, malinaw at malalimang pagbabalita. Ito ang mas pinatalas na Mata ng Agila. Inihahatid ng veteranong broadcast journalist na si Eli Saludar. Kasama si Binibining Pilipinas Intercontinental 2019, Emma Tiglao. At pinangungunahan ng batikang mamamahayag ng bansa, Vic De Leon Lima. Mata ng Agila, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 6 hanggang alas 8 ng gabi, dito sa Net 25.
Dahil walang na-realize, bakit ginawa ng Net25 tong Tagisan ng Galing Dance Edition? To encourage you people to join.
Very versatile itong grupo na to. Maraming kayang style na gawin. I don't know what else to say. Overwhelming performance.
Shall I say almost perfect? Lahat kayo magagaling. Parang grand finals ngayong araw na ito.
It's a very nice performance.
Para akong nakikinig sa isang foreign singer na kumakanta ng Tagalog.
Parang di ko yata kaya. Grabe, yung angas at yung puso, merong ka nun eh.
Grabe no, sobrang solid ang episode na ihahain namin para sa inyo. And we guarantee na magiging classic to mga laban na paparating.
Kaninong pangarap ang mananatiling buhay para sa 2 milyong piso? Let's find out dito sa biggest talent competition on Philippine TV and online. This is Tagisan ng Galing Part 2
Singing and Dance Edition.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Alan Pasoyahe in Los Angeles. Several stories from Mississippi tonight. Updates on the winter weather's impact on the state, the announcement of 2 new populations eligible for COVID vaccination, and the possibility of lifting the mask mandate in March. Eagle News correspondent Elmarie Gonzalez files this report.
Texas was not the only state to receive the harsh impact of the recent winter storms. In a report from the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency released Monday, the winter weather that impacted the state caused dangerous, icy precipitation that resulted in hazardous road conditions and widespread power outages. MEMA Executive Director Stephen McCraney stated, "We are currently working with counties conducting damage assessments. Once that information is gathered, MEMA will have a better grasp of the destruction from the winter storm event. The state must reach more than a 4.5 million threshold of damages to request a major disaster declaration for public assistance. We are working as fast as we can to get this done for our state." So far, at least 2 storm-related deaths have occurred, with hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses affected across several counties. With many residents still without power and running water, the capital city of Jackson remains under a water boil notice as a proclamation of civil emergency for inclement weather is still in effect. Governor Tate Reeves responded to the issue on his social media Tuesday, mentioning his team had secured several tankers to provide non-portable water for the city of Jackson to help add pressure and jumpstart the water system to accelerate the fix. He has also deployed the National Guard to complete the mission and will do everything they can to restore clean water with water pressure for the people of Jackson. On Tuesday, the governor held a press conference to address the issues related to the recent winter storms.
Over the last week, we as a state have endured a bitter ice storm. And as I've said, we're used to dealing with emergencies in Mississippi, but we're not used to ice. We've come to expect the unexpected in the last year and respond with grit and determination. That load was carried last week primarily by our linesmen, our road crews, and other emergency responders who were the front lines responding to this storm. We all, as Mississippians, owe them a debt of gratitude. We are assessing damage as we speak, Most of the local emergency management teams entered the damage assessment phase sometime yesterday, and if not yesterday, sometime this morning. The moment that we reach the damage threshold that is required by federal law, we will be able to apply for a federal disaster declaration, and if in fact we meet that threshold, and I do believe that we will, but the minute we do meet that threshold, I do plan to apply for that federal declaration.
Meanwhile, Governor Reeves also provided updates on the COVID-19 vaccine and how 2 additional groups will now be eligible.
I am excited to announce that we are going to open eligibility for the COVID-19 vaccine to teachers and first responders. That will officially begin on March the 1st. Tens of thousands of new appointments will be loaded tomorrow, and you can start making appointments as soon as they become available. You can make these appointments by calling 1-877-978-6453 or by going to the website at covidvaccine.umc.edu.
And on a positive note, Governor Reeves announced that the numbers of positive COVID-19 cases in Mississippi have been decreasing, which could lead to the possible lifting of the mask mandate in March.
Obviously, it's grown a little more safe in our state over the last several weeks. COVID cases have declined dramatically. In fact, we've gone 17 straight days with less than 1,000 cases being reported. Our 7-day average is nearing 400 after having it reach 2,400 several months ago.
Meanwhile, I hope you're staying safe in your part of the country. From South Haven, Mississippi, I am Elmarie Gonzalez. Eagle News will live in interesting times.
Thanks, Elmarie. I'll make sure to give Ace your regards, or as I like to call him, the much better looking fella. Now, for those who normally like to say cheese before they have a picture taken, this time around, we're being told to say no, please. And that's what the CDC is advising those who might have purchased cheese under the brand name El Abuelito. A Listeria outbreak has been connected to this cheese brand. EBC's Eliza Gonzalez-Mamicmot in Washington shares with us the CDC Advisory. Eliza.
Good Thursday evening to you, Alan, and a good Friday morning to our viewers on the other side of the globe. You are correct. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention has expanded its advice to not eat, sell, or serve any cheese sold under the brand name El Abuelito. This is in addition to the recalled queso fresco cheese sold under the brand names of El Abuelito, Rio Grande, and Rio Lindo. The CDC is concerned that any cheese made or handled at this facility could be contaminated and make people sick. 3 new illnesses were reported this week, and this outbreak has sickened a total of 10 people in 4 states. And these 4 states, Allen, are Connecticut, Maryland, New York, and Virginia. 9 people have been hospitalized, but no deaths have been reported. Interviews with the sick people and laboratory data show that queso fresco made by El Abuelito Cheese Incorporated is a likely source of the outbreak. Connecticut officials found the outbreak strain of Listeria in samples of El Abuelito brand queso fresco cheese collected from a store where a sick person bought cheese. Now, some important reminders for all of us: do not eat any of the recalled queso fresco cheeses or any cheese sold under the El Abuelito brand. Throw them away or return any recalled cheeses to where you bought them. Clean your refrigerator, containers, and surfaces that may have touched the cheeses. Listeria can survive in the refrigerator and can easily spread to other foods and surfaces. Now, here are a few known facts about Listeria. It can cause severe illness, known as invasive listeriosis, when the bacteria spread beyond the gut to other parts of the body. Now, pregnant people typically experience only fever, fatigue, and muscle aches. However, Listeria infection during pregnancy can lead to miscarriage, stillbirth, premature delivery, or worse, life-threatening infection of the newborn. People who are not pregnant may experience headaches, stiff neck, confusion, loss of balance, and convulsions, in addition to fever and muscle aches. Now, symptoms of severe illness usually start 1 to 4 weeks after eating food contaminated with Listeria, but may start as early as the same day or as late as 70 days after. So if you have questions about cases in a particular state, please call your state's health department. In Washington, D.C., Eliza Gonzalez Manglikmont, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Oh, Eliza, we store cheese, of course, in a refrigerator. So what if someone unfortunately purchased one of these recalled food products, stored it in their fridge? How would they dispose of it and then properly clean out the refrigerator?
Thank you, Alan, for that question. Now, according to cdc.gov, the things you need are 4 items: sealed bags, hot soapy water, clean towels, and this is optional, water and bleach. Now, step 1, throw out recalled food. Include any other food stored with it or touching it. Seal it in a bag. Toss it in the garbage. Now, if food was in a reusable container, wash it with hot and soapy water before reusing. Now, step 2, empty your refrigerator. Put the rest of the items on your counter while you're cleaning. Take out shelving, drawers, and any removable parts of the refrigerator, and leave unrefrigerated food out. Do not leave unrefrigerated food out for more than 2 hours. Step 3, wash removable parts. Step 4, clean and sanitize the inside of the refrigerator. Now, this is an optional step. You may use a solution, 1 tablespoon liquid bleach in 1 gallon of water to sanitize the refrigerator. Now, step 5, of course, return the shelves, drawers, and the food that wasn't contaminated. And then thoroughly wash your hands after. So it's one good reason for you to clean out your refrigerator of unwanted items in there. Alan?
That's good advice. Always not a bad time to do a little bit of spring cleaning, no matter what time of the year. Thank you so much, Eliza, for that report.
Thank you.
New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy and Acting Department of Education Commissioner Alan McMillan visit the Thomas Jefferson Middle School in Fairlawn to discuss a historic pre-K through 12 investments in the fiscal year 2022 budget proposal. In Union Township, Bureau Chief Carlo Valdez reports.
Thanks, Alan. On Thursday, Governor Murphy visited Thomas Jefferson Middle School in Fairlawn, New Jersey, to highlight the $18.1 billion pre-K through 12 school aid funding in the governor's fiscal year 2022 budget proposal. The budget would increase K-12 education aid by $578 million and increase pre-K funding by $50 million. Here's Governor Murphy with some more information. Let's take a look.
So much is the investment we will make in our schools and in our educational communities, from pre-K all the way up through graduation. A strong education, as Nick said, as Christina said, is the foundation for everything we seek to achieve. This budget would increase our overall investment in our schools by roughly $700 million. It will allow us to continue to chip away dollar by dollar, and Christina made this point, at the high property taxes that have hamstrung so many middle-class owners, homeowners, and especially seniors who look at their property tax bill and see on average 53% of it is for public education, yet their kids have graduated. Over the past 4 years, our budgets have increased direct school investment by nearly $1.5 billion, a key reason why our administration's first 3 years correspond with 3 of the lowest year-over-year increases in property taxes on record. And today, the department, as I mentioned, under Angelica's leadership, is releasing its breakdown of how the nearly of that.
And as for coronavirus stats and numbers, New Jersey reports of 3,079 new positive PCR tests, pushing the total to 692,931. Sadly, New Jersey is reporting 70 new COVID-19 deaths, pushing the total to 20,816 lives lost. In Union Township, New Jersey, Carlo Valdez, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
several stories from our business desk in New York. Lawmakers are questioning major players of the GameStop trading frenzy. And Facebook is banning news in Australia. Bobby Soriano files this report.
Good evening. U.S. markets have closed. Here are your latest business headlines. President Biden signed yesterday a new executive order that looks to review critical supply chains that were tested during the pandemic.
And today I'm shortly going to be signing another executive order that will help address the vulnerabilities in our supply chains across additional critical sectors of our economy, so that the American people are prepared to withstand any crisis and rely on ourselves.
The supply chains being reviewed include sourcing for personal protective equipment that were needed for healthcare workers early on in the pandemic, as well as addressing the ongoing shortage of semiconductor chips, and a review of the importation of rare earth metals needed for national defense projects, all of which will need to be negotiated with the United States' largest trade partner, China. Twitter held its annual Analyst Day today to announce its expansion goals for the next few years, and they look to be very optimistic. Among the goals mentioned include its target of 315 million monetizable daily users by 2023, which would bring in revenue for the company of approximately $7.5 billion, up from 192 million daily users and $3.7 billion in revenue last year. The company expects this growth to come in as it plans to announce new features to help users create a greater sense of community, including the introduction of more followable topics, customizable content controls, and the rollout of its Twitter Spaces feature, which is currently in beta. Spaces is Twitter's answer to the up-and-coming app Clubhouse, where users can create audio rooms that allow for speakers to converse with a listening audience. Shares for Twitter were up 10% immediately following the announcements. Jobless claims dropped significantly the week of February 20, with new applications for unemployment benefits falling to its lowest level since November at a seasonally adjusted 730,000. U.S. indices closed in the red today, following a sell-off led by the technology sector. Reporting from New York, Bobby Soriano, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
That was Bobby Soriano, keeping an eye on our economy. When we come back, EBC Sports, plus a trip to Mauna Kea in Hawaii. This is Eagle News America. Stay with us.
Kung ika'y magiging akin, di ka na muling luluha pa. Pangakong di ka lolokohin ng puso kong nagmamahal. Hi, ito po sa City. Abangan niyo po ako ngayong linggo sa Himig ng Lahi. Alas 8 ng gabi dito lang sa Net 25. Pangakong ikaw lang ang iibigin magpakailanman.
NBA players have been known to use their platform to create a positive impact on society. The latest storms that ravaged the state of Texas was another opportunity for them to do this. Some of the biggest names in the league did what they could to help Texas residents. Melissa Potes has the report.
When times in the world are tough, NBA players know when to lend a helping hand whenever they possibly can. Rockets point guard John Wall's act of kindness to the Houston community is a selfless deed, and his late mother has trained him to do good to those who need it.
My personality and character speaks for itself. I really do, like I said before, I really don't do a lot of things for the media or for publicity stuff. Anything I do it because it comes from my heart. I know my mom's up in heaven watching, and if I didn't do anything to help people that's less fortunate right now, she would be upset. She taught me how to help my neighbors if they need any help. So this is something I don't think is a big problem. I think it's something easy and obvious that people need help. And I feel like it was an opportunity for me to step up and show that I'm more than just a basketball player for this community and for this city. I try to find different ways and different situations where I want to help. I mean, look back in D.C., I found Southeast D.C. that I started to help out. That's where our practice really was. Before that, I was in Northeast or Northwest DC. So you just try to find different areas. And we're going to continue to try to find more and more people that need that help in the best situation possible. So we're not going to be able to touch everybody, but in ways that I can help and show that they're important to me, just like I'm important to them as being a basketball player. I'm going to try my best to help.
Pacers forward Miles Turner is a Texas native raised in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Turner was able to help his family during the storm.
For me personally, I'm from the DFW area. I'm a native, and I'm not there right now. I don't really know what it feels like to, be under that tutelage. I feel like the power being out, people having to boil water, people not having to sleep in. It was like in the single digits in their households and whatnot. I can never imagine what that's like. I'm blessed and fortunate enough to have my family members taken care of, but it just kind of hit home to me because those are my people. Those are people that are going through a lot. I've spent a lot of time in San Antonio. I went to the University of Texas down there in Austin. I have a lot of family in Houston, so I know people are going through a lot. And I was going to do whatever I could to help. Financially, is obviously the only way I can make a contribution at this point. Wishing to block the weather, can't do it, so I'll do what I do.
Things may not have ended sweet between James Harden and the Rockets, but the city of Houston will always have a special place in the Beard's heart.
I call Houston home. It's devastating, obviously. This is probably worse than a hurricane, just because we don't know how many people are affected. Not having electricity, not having power, and isn't able to eat or be outside or whatever the case may be. So not only food, obviously I have a restaurant in Houston that isn't open yet, but not only food, we try to get feed as many people as we can. A lot of water. Shout out to Body Armor who's helping me with that. But we're getting a lot of water shipped in this week, for people, which I'll be posting. And then as far as plumbing, I've reached out and I'm in contact with some plumbing companies that are, have been for these last few days, taking care of 7-8 houses a day, patching up these pipes because, once the electricity came back on, pipes started to burst, and we've seen so many cases of that in Houston that I've been in contact with, the mayor, Mayor Turner, the relief gang, and just so many people that I've known that are able to help while I'm not there. And obviously this is a huge problem, but I try to impact it and help as much as I can while I'm out there. So, and I'll continue that. It won't stop because there's so many people that's been affected that I can't stop.
Acts of kindness like this showcase that these players are more than just an athlete, an example that we should emulate. In Orlando, Florida, Melissa Potes, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
A reminder that sports leagues can be more than just about playing games, but about helping humanity. Thank you, Melissa, for that report. We now move to Los Angeles, where the Lakers' losing skid continues. Their latest loss came at the hands of the Utah Jazz. And since Lakers star Anthony Davis is sidelined with injuries, he's been replaced as a starter on the Western Conference All-Star team. Tenny Samage files this report.
With Donovan Mitchell struggling on offense, the supporting cast of Rudy Gobert, Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, Joe Ingles, and Bojan Bogdanovic all scored in double digits as the Utah Jazz defeated the defending champs LA Lakers on Wednesday.
And I think the best thing about this game was we continued to keep our foot on the gas, every step of the way. There wasn't a moment in the game where it was we kind of played like we were up. And I think that was something that was impressive. Obviously the ball movement, the defense was great, but our relentlessness, I think was something that, we can applaud ourselves for, but continue to build off of and look to games like this, where there may be games where guys' stars may be out or whatever, and look to see how we continue to play, for the full 48.
It's really unique. It's really unique to have, the whole team buy in to an idea and to a style of play, and to a team buying in on sacrificing for each other. And you've got a lot of guys on this team that can go and average 20 points a game for a season, but yet, we see guys on a nightly basis. It could be JC one night, it could be Don, it could be Rudy, Boyan, Royce, anybody steps up to the plate. And for us to just, kind of feed off of whoever it is that night, it's special. And we've really bought into being unselfish and getting excited for the next guy. And you don't find that, rarely around the league.
For the Lakers, their 4-game losing skid is just a lesson that they need to communicate better and be on task.
First starts with communicating on the floor, being on the same page at all times. Then, it's competing, taking stuff away for the offensive. It starts to be always on the defensive end. That creates our offense a little bit. That creates trust and it gets guys going. And, we have to be 5 guys together at all times.
We just hit a rough patch, and it happens throughout the course of a season. You don't want it to happen, but when it does, I think it defines character. It challenges you, and, you just get ready for the bounce back. So you learn from tonight, learn from the previous games, and then get ready for the next one.
Devin Booker will replace Anthony Davis on the All-Star Reserve roster, as the league announced on Wednesday.
Yeah. I always try to say I focus on the good that's going around. So I'm past that situation, but, there is some good going on around me. And since I have everybody's attention, I'd like to give a big congratulations to my father, Melvin Booker, and Jessica Holtz for passing their CBA test to become certified agents. So 2 really close people to me that I'm looking forward to doing business with moving forward. And my brother, Davon Wade. He recently moved out the house. He's on his own, and he got his real estate license over a year ago. So super proud of him also.
We'll have more news stories and highlights on all NBA teams throughout the season. In New York, Tenny Sumagi, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Can't wait for the All-Stars. Thanks, Tenny. Now it's time for a little outdoor fun. Eagle News correspondent Charmaine Serrera takes us to Hawaii's tallest mountain, Mauna Kea. Take a look.
Mauna Kea, which is located on the Big Island, is Hawaii's highest peak at 4,207 meters above sea level. Every winter, the 3 tallest mountains in the state receive snowfalls, making them favorite tourist destinations. For those planning to visit Mauna Kea, it is highly recommended to stop by the Visitor Information Station, or VIS, at 2,800 meters to receive a current weather update, safety information, and to adjust to the change in altitude. Visitors are also strongly advised to drive only 4-wheel drive vehicles with low range because of the steepness of some parts of the road, as well as possible changes in weather on the mountain. Mauna Kea is one of the only places in the world where you can drive from sea level to 4,200 meters in about 2 hours, so altitude sickness is a high possibility. Because there is 40% less air pressure than at sea level, visitors should adjust to the altitude before proceeding further up the mountain. Anyone in poor health should consult their doctor first before planning a visit to Mauna Kea. Because of Mauna Kea's delicate natural habitats, visitors are reminded to not disturb the terrain, plants, or animals. They must also stay on designated roadways and trails, as off-road driving is strictly prohibited. At the summit, there are several observatories that actively study the stars and space above. Access to them is restricted. The visiting hours to the summit area are from half an hour before sunrise until half an hour after sunset. For safety, visitors must leave the summit once it becomes dark. Finally, the best thing about this experience is that the whole trip is absolutely free. So do include Mauna Kea on your visit to the Aloha State. Reporting from the Big Island of Hawaii, this is Charmaine Serrera for Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Well, sometimes we forget that there can be snow in Hawaii, but one thing we never forget to remember our birthdays of special people like our Eagle News correspondent, Mylene Cusho, who just recently celebrated her birthday. So happy birthday, Mylene, and thanks for joining us and our other correspondents right now tonight as we all join together to continue to thank our healthcare workers, first responders, and essential workers with a big round of applause. We appreciate you. And that is today's Eagle News America. Thank you for joining us. I'm Alan Basolyahe. We live in interesting times.